All right, now we are on live, so watch your politics. We can talk, I think.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to find it.
It's just connecting now.
Okay. So I'm sure it has a delay.
So we're live now.
Okay.
So our time is pretty limited, so I think we'll try and do what we can. As we said, next week, then we can do part 2.
Cool.
Yeah, you've been able to find it?
Yep. It's let me see.
Okay. That's good.
So I'm hoping I'll be able to see the comments, and it has a delay. It has a few.
Yeah, it
few
shows
seconds
like
delay.
3 or 4 seconds delay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah, I guess it's good for us as men to speak for ourselves before we invite the ladies also to come in.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
So today is just us as men, the 3 of us talking about what we want. And then we can have another time when we have a lady coming to tell us what they think we want. Most of the time they say they have no idea. We're just too simple that we are complicated. Amani, is that you? You're too simple that you're complicated.
yeah, I'm definitely very simple.
Mm-hmm.
I just want food and silence.
Once you have food, you're okay.
Yeah, if I can get food and silence, I'd be very happy.
All right. Well, you're going to be telling us. So keep joining us. Those of us who are joining us on Facebook Live, we are starting actually in a minute, but we're already we're already here. Just clearing our thoughts. Our thoughts and connecting with my 2 friends here. Ian Bugwa, just it's good to be with you. Do you prefer to be called Judge Ian or just Ian Bugwa?
No, I am not Judge Ian. I'm Ian Bogwa. Amani, do you hear that?
I can't hear you. What did you say?
Well, it's hard for you to drop that. The title judge. I think you
True.
it, and one's a judge, always one.
I created a monster.
You did, man. You did.
Yeah.
And then you have the best facial expressions, man. I think, I think that maybe it could be something from the acting, but wow. I'd want to see the facial expressions you showed your kids when you're unhappy. Exactly. Look at that. Look at that. It's classic. Oh, I love it so much.
Well, I think we should start because we don't have too long.
All right.
So, welcome to Sober Sunday. This is the first episode. We're going to be doing this every Sunday. Of course, not every Sunday. We're going to be talking about this topic. Next week, we're going to do part 2, but after that, we'll continue to have different stimulating conversations around here. So my name is Simon Mbevi from Transform Nations. I'm glad to host you today in this conversation that we're going to have for the next 1 hour. I think because of the way the topic is, I think 1 hour is just going to fly by. but it's a blessing to have my friends here. Looking forward to our conversations together. So let me introduce Amani Maranga. I don't want to say too much about what you do. I'd rather let you say it for yourself, but
you already know all my mistakes, so go ahead. Say it.
Amani has been my friend for a long time. He's into communications, corporate communications, and different other things he does. I think that's a day job that I know. And he's going to be telling us more about himself. Amani, just go ahead and tell us a bit about yourself.
All right, so my name is Amani. Thank you, Pastor Simon. It's been how long since my last confession? I'm
just Simon Mbevi today, so.
I'm a communicator, I'm a podcaster, I'm an entrepreneur, so I sit in a couple of startups. And I'm a man. I think that's what qualifies me for this conversation. So I'm very happy to be here. Would you allow me to introduce Judge Ian?
Please go ahead.
Just raise your face.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go on.
He's a husband. He's a father. He's a grandfather, an actor, a thespian, director, singer, teacher. But you better know him as Judge Ian. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the man, Judge Ian Mbogwa. Okay, I'm done.
Amani, cool off. I don't know what you took before this. Huh?
It's a running joke I have with Ian that we do.
Yes, we go through this a lot of time. So thank you, Amani.
You're welcome.
Welcome, Ian Mbogwa. It's good to have you here. It's been a while since we did our program together, Mentality. I remember you were facilitating for us during that time. And so glad to be here. We're just going to jump into it. As I said, Simon Mbevi is my name, Executive Director of Transform Nations. We run different programs. For example, we do Man Enough, which about 20,000 men now have gone through it. And this is just a time for men, a season for men to get to understand themselves. It's 8 weeks. Now we're doing it online for 5 weeks. And in case you're interested, as we go through this, you're welcome to sign in. In fact, there's a link. And we have the woman equivalent for that, which is called EZA. Again, the same thing, just revealing femininity and understanding the roles that we have in these modern days. So welcome. And in case you're interested in any of our programs, you're free during this conversation for you to sign up. Also, we want to invite you to host watch parties, give us some comments. We're going to pick some and have some conversation around them. But we're glad to have you here. So today, being episode 1 of Sober Sunday, Amani,
Yes,
the topic is, what do men want? And I know that you got to talk with a few people just to know, first the ladies and what they think, and then of course the men before we even jump into it. But start us off.
First, Pastor Simon, can I ask you to use the gallery view? I'm seeing a couple of comments who people are saying they'd like to see all of us. So if you could switch to the gallery view, that would respond to some of the comments that we are hearing. What do men want? I think men are very simple. We are the simplest of the, of the human species. We just want food.
Yeah.
We want. Yeah, I mean, the saying, a hungry man is an angry man. So you feed the guy, you sort out the anger, We want silence.
Before you leave food, they always say that the shortest way to a man's heart is through the stomach. Do you think that's right?
Through the stomach.
Yeah.
I have a variation of that one, but I will not say it here. So, but yes, I think, it's generally in the right direction. The way to a man's heart is through his stomach. So I think food is an important part of, I mean, it's very simple. Feed a guy and you're able to have almost any conversation with him. Someone on my, so Stephen Guru on my Instagram feed wrote this: in my 20s, I wanted a flourishing career. Now I just want to be left alone. and no, I understand him. I think we want to be able to have some quiet time, some quiet time, some quiet space. I know a lot of women don't understand this. I actually had a question on my Facebook wall today. Someone asked me why men go silent.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll address it. But there's something about silence that allows a man to get to his core, to finding himself. So I think food, silence, and respect. The others, I need to warm people in a little bit. So let's keep it kosher for now.
Yeah. So for you, you're saying if a man gets good food, especially in a relationship,
Yes.
then he's going to be okay. If there's silence and no noise, and I think there's a bit of there's a noise when we begin to quarrel about something, but there's also the silence of a man cave. Men need some time just to be left to go somewhere and begin to process things in a man cave, so some silence somewhere. And so I guess it's those two types of silence, and we're going to talk more about them. And of course, the last one you said, silence.
I said respect as well. I know it's
yeah, and that's a big one, and
I think we're going
to get back to it. What about you, Ian Bogwa? Just
well,
out of the basic things that you feel men need, starting with yourself, what would you say?
Number one, what man needs is respect.
Okay.
That's for sure. That's number one.
Yes.
Very, very important. Respect. Man also needs to feel that he is worthy. He needs to feel that he is in control.
Mm-hmm.
Man also needs, and that also comes into authority.
Yeah.
To be the head, because that is what the man is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so it's not just, well, one of my friends, a lady, earlier on said, why do you need a whole hour? We know what men want. They want sex, and that's it. Well, sex is a need, yes, but it's not all that we need. That's not all we want. That's not what we're all about.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I like where you started, respect, because even without respect, the other needs, whether it's the food or the sex, it's not going to be exciting anymore if the respect is not there. Well, I like that. And I think as I've talked with many people, Amani, a lot of them have been saying respect. Well, respect is earned, and I think respect is a big one. And even for those of us who are Christians, when you look at Ephesians chapter 5, the Bible talks severally about wives, respect your husbands. Just respect is how love is spelled to a man. The way women see love as a flowers, as a compliments, as a care, as touch, and all of that. I think for man it's just simple, respect. Love is spelled respect. And if you're going to give respect to a man, and it's not only in a relationship, it's generally, I think men just love to be respected. But then some say this must be earned. You don't just get it. Respect must be worked for and earned. What's your view, Amani, about that?
I vehemently disagree. Those who are saying that money has been poured to listen,
to finish, yes, yeah.
a woman, if a man, if you choose a man as a woman and you choose to live with this man, part of the fine print that you're choosing to do is to respect this man.
Yeah.
So you cannot then ask him to earn your respect when you've chosen to be with him.
Yeah.
So I think in a relationship setting, I think you can grow that respect, but I think it must be given from the onset. If you can't give respect from the onset, then why are you with the guy?
So what you're saying is that by the time you get a man and he's going to be your boyfriend, he's going to be your husband, that means he has already earned some respect.
The guy is choosing to love you.
Yeah.
Okay? He's not asking you to earn his love.
Yeah.
So he's already made a choice. I love you, you're my girlfriend, or you're my wife, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Why would he need to earn his respect? It should be given, and then after that, then you can grow the levels of that respect. But there should be a threshold that I respect this man and I choose to honor him. If you're not going to respect him from the onset, go find your father and respect him.
Yeah.
I
Go ahead, Ian.
I see both sides. I see that the man should be respected just for the fact that he is a man. He needs to be respected. That's important. But also, it needs to be earned, because if you are going to behave like a half-baked boy, then really that respect is going to go completely to level 0.1.
Yeah.
There'll still be respect, but it's going to be very, very little respect. So it depends on how you're going to behave as a man for you to earn that respect. You can't be lounging around at home doing absolutely nothing and expect to be respected. No.
At that point, you cannot demand respect. Maybe let me see, Amani, whether I could bring both of them. There's a respect that every man needs wherever. Like whenever you're driving to a place and the security guard is there, then he expects you to respect him. He hasn't earned it, he's just there. That's what you give him because he's human and because he's playing a job. Just like what we get a money, where by the time person in a relationship says you're the man, then you've earned some respect for sure. And I like what you're saying. For money, you're saying it grows, but I think what I hear Ian say is that there's some respect you are lent, but then you have to prove that you're worth that respect. Just like our honorable members. We choose them. We don't know too much about themselves. We call them
let's not go there
until they prove that they are not honorable. And sometimes a man is like that, that you're given honor because of who you are until you prove that you're not worth that honor, and then it's going to be taken away from you. Does that sound fair, Manny?
No, it doesn't. And I'll tell you why. You know, I think the most relationships have been killed by contempt more than anything else. That, you know, we talk about finances, we talk about, you know, infidelity, but I think when contempt enters a relationship, that kills it more than anything else. And now, and when I think about it, you know, bro, if you get to a place where you cannot respect the person you're with, you shouldn't be there.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. I think we're going to go deeper into the relationship, but let me just talk about generally out there. I think men need respect wherever they are because of what you said. We're human beings. And I think I always say there's a king in every man. There's honor that we want just for wherever we are, whether it's on the road, whether it's at the gate or wherever we go, that there's respect that we need to have, and that needs to be given. And men respond a lot to that, of course, until, as Ian was saying, then a man is not pulling his weight, he's not responsible, he doesn't have the character. But I think the first thing we are saying a man needs is honor. Honor given to him. He needs to be honored for who he is. And of course, there's a bit of it that he gets because of his behavior and because of his responsibility. Ian, what else would you want to add around that?
Yes, well, yes. The man also needs to to know that he is somehow in control. Even if things, he needs to feel worthy. He needs to feel wanted.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah.
Because
and I like the part for wanted, and we're going to
yes,
get back to it. But what you're saying about worth and leadership, some of the ladies would push back and say, but, we are called leaders in the family. They also need that respect. So is it just a man wants to feel like he's the leader, that he just want to feel like he's ahead? And, sometimes they say, you could be the car that is ahead, but you're a parked car. You're not moving, so you're not a leader in that sense. Is it just hierarchy that we're looking for, or is there something deeper that we're looking for?
It's inborn in us that we are the ones who will provide. We're the ones who will lead, okay? I know times have changed, and we've got the woman now in many households really making a lot more than the man. Mm-hmm. But still, it doesn't matter even if she's making more. You are still, as the man, the head. And there should be some sort of, there's respect from her to you. When she comes home, she is your wife. She is not a boss. And before she does things, it's just courteous that she comes and discusses things with you and gets your opinion.
Okay.
And you feel that you are in control. If she decides, okay, she's the one she's got the money, she decides she's going to buy the house without you having absolutely any input in that. Yes.
Okay. And I guess it works the other way around as well. As a leader, you need to consult and just involve them.
It's a partnership.
Leadership is a role that you play a role as a husband, you play a role as a daddy, you play a role as a man in the community. And for that, you need to be given some ascribed worth for who you are and for what you do, and to be celebrated for that. Even if you're just bringing some little money home and your wife is bringing in more, but you're still playing your role in the relationship as a husband or as a boyfriend, for those who are not married yet, and you're relating with a man, or as a man elsewhere. Amani, what would you add to that?
So I want to agree with the indomitable Ian Bogwa. That we have a God-given role in leadership, and leadership is doesn't mean that we don't have partners that are in many ways equal to us. But what leadership means for me is that the buck stops with me. At the end of the day, the buck stops with me. And if someone's head is to be rolled for the sake of a decision made for the family, it's my head that needs to be rolled. And that's what leadership for me is. Pastor Simon, this is something I learned from you. You talked about provision, and you said that provision is not just financial, but provision is also about providing vision. And I think this is a big part of leadership. It's about being able to, as the head of the home, being able to provide vision for your relationship or for that family. And this is why, back to my argument, I don't think, Ian has talked about being wanted and being needed. I think the words that choose to use are affirmed and validated.
Yeah.
So a lot of what we see as disrespect is often invalidation. And today I was having a conversation with a friend, and she asked, why men don't take ideas that are given by their wives. And I asked, how was that idea given? And I said, often, and I know this is going to be a sweeping statement, but it's a generalization. I'm not saying this is what happens to everyone.
Yeah.
But you will hear it's raining outside, and then someone will tell you it's raining. You point out the problem that I already can see. Okay.
Yeah.
And you assume that I have not seen the problem, and I've not even thought about what the solution is. I'm thinking about the solution. Yeah. And I've found that, especially our modern day women, in an effort, I often to to help or to give, to contribute to a conversation, end up doing it in a manner that invalidates the man. And so now that becomes, it becomes translated as, disrespect or dishonor.
Yeah.
And I think I've learned this thing as a communicator, and maybe let me give this tip to the ladies. It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
How?
It's how it's said, whether it comes across with respect.
Exactly. My father used to say, you can call a man a dog and he'll either bite you or wag his tail.
Yeah, because of the way you said it. All right, I think before I come back to you, Ian, just looking at what we are already saying, I think for those of you who are just joining us, you're welcome. This is Sober Sunday. Simon Mbevi here with Amani Maranga and Ian Bugwa. Today we're talking about what do men really want in life and in relationships. And we've just begun right now to talk about respect. I think that's a big thing we're talking about. We're saying there's respect that we are given. A man needs to be given just for being a man. And then there's one that, as it were, he earns or he grows into because of his character, because of his integrity, because of his responsibility, that he needs to act honorably so that he's going to be given that honor. And that's what we're talking about. And then we're saying because of ascribed worth, that every human being has worth. And as a husband, as a father, as a gatekeeper, everybody has some worth and they need to be celebrated for that. And I think thirdly, we are saying the way we talk, the way men have an ego, just like everyone has an ego, but for men, it's manly ego. And just the way you talk to men, the way you talk to someone, and I think I've had this a lot in relationships. Once we were counseling this couple with my wife, and the man was dragged into the counseling room. You could see he didn't want to be there. And then the woman started introducing him. This is my useless husband. I've just brought him here because he needs some help. And I'm even sorry for myself that I've kept up with him. It went something like that. And I think I looked at her and said, even me, I wouldn't keep up with something like that. Just the way you talk needs to be with respect. Coming to you, Ian. I know there's one of the ladies who said she thinks that men don't like drama and shaming and belittling. What's your experience with that?
That is absolutely true.
What would you say to the ladies about that?
That is absolutely true. Do not belittle a man at all. There is no need to do that. Once you try and belittle him, the respect is gone. And once the respect is gone, you've lost that man.
You see a dishonorable side of that man that you never knew, right?
Yes. Do not belittle a man.
Yeah. And I know
likewise.
Yeah.
And likewise, men should not belittle their wives.
Amen. That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
You need to know, as a man, you need to know how to address your wife in front of people. She has a name.
Yeah.
Don't say this is my kedu or this is my whatever. She has a name. Use it.
Or just don't say mama.
Calling her where?
So.
Where?
Nanya. I agree with Ian.
Take your money as you go into that. Let me just say some of the things that you get to send as well. We are ready to hear just some comments, and we're going to be taking some of them as we go. So keep giving some comments, maybe asking some questions, and we're going to be looking at them. So talking about drama, shaming, and belittling, Amani.
I mean, I don't think there's any human being that wants to be belittled, and not any human being deserves to be belittled. I've not found one situation in my almost 40 years of living that I've seen someone who deserved to be belittled. I don't think it exists. I think shame is a useless emotion.
Mhm.
I think we shouldn't shame people.
Mhm.
I think remorse is a better emotion than shame. You know, shame paralyzes people. Shame belittles people. But you can move someone from a place of realizing that they've done something wrong, get them to a place of remorse, and then get them to a place of correction. But what shame does is shame puts you down.
Mhm.
It puts you down and leaves you down.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
useless way to deal with human beings.
That's true. I think shaming others, you also get to shame yourself, because as I think it's Maxwell who says you can never put people down without going down with them. So what you put value into, it appreciates. If you call someone, positive names and you value them and appreciate them, then they also appreciate in your own eyes and in the eyes of other people. So just no drama. I think men don't want drama, don't want shame, don't want being called names, just because the honor in a man, the respect in a man, the king in a man just wants to be able to be respectable and needs to be shown that respect. And so we're keeping on looking at the coming whatever, so that we continue to see just some of the things that you are saying as well. We're going to get to the comments very quick. We'll continue to write them, and then we're going to come to them very, very soon. But Judge Ian, I think we are talking about honor. Men love honor. Ian Bugwa. They like to feel noble, and they like to be treated as noble, as a king of the castle if it's in the home. But even now there, just to be given the general respect. And without respect, then men find themselves not giving their best. But the second thing I think you mentioned, and I want to go into it, is like duty. Men love to have a job, that they're busy doing something, that there's something worthwhile that they are doing. And I think it's under that you were saying that men, and I always put it this way, that women need to be wanted. They need to be wanted. A woman wants to feel, I am wanted, I am pursued, I am celebrated and stuff like that. But men want to be needed. They want to be needed. If a man feels like I'm not needed here, there's nothing significant for me to contribute to, then either he just pulls back, gets passive, or he bounces because he just doesn't feel useful. What would you say to that, Ian?
That is absolutely right. Mm-hmm. And a man needs to feel that he's needed around, that he's needed. Mm-hmm. I mean, and it's simple things like a woman coming in from the kitchen to say, please open this for me. Mm-hmm. That is enough. Yeah. You have no idea what an ego booster that is for a man. Mm-hmm. You've come in from the kitchen with a tin, a can that needs to be opened up. Even if you can do it yourself, just ask him. Yeah. And you have no idea how that will boost the man. Yeah. It's simple things like those.
That's true. So I think he just wants to feel needed. He's not just sitting there and not getting busy with anything. He's being asked to get involved, that there's a task that he's allowed to do, and that the other person is not taking over and just doing a lot of things. Amani, what do you say to that?
I agree with Ian completely. I think one of the most harmful statements that have ever been made, again, I'm going to make a controversial one, is anything a woman can do better. I agree that anything a woman can do, I don't see why it has to be better. Uh-huh. And I think what it did, with probably a great intention to get women to take up roles that are traditionally men, especially in the industrial age, I see what it was intended for. Yeah. But that statement, what it did in itself, it invalidated men. Okay, and so we find ourselves in situations where women want to feel included, but they don't feel like they need to include the man.
Mm.
And for me, the conversation about partnership is exactly that, you know. It's to be able to say, you need to see this man as your partner in life. If you make a decision, by the way, that's a decision you've made. This is my life partner. Treat him like that. Use him, use his mind, use his brain. You're better for it. And the more you do that, the more you find that you grow as well. Just like he should do the same. But today we are talking about what men want. So all the women who are also very happy about that, we are, you know, Ian is including the women. We're happy for you. We'll have a conversation about what women want. Today it's about what we want. So just shh and listen.
And now at this, at this time, it's really difficult for men. When you have the whole family in the house. Okay. You've got the kids who are still doing online teaching. They know the computer better than you as a man. Your wife probably knows the computer better than you. So you are feeling completely useless. Yes, it's a tough situation for men with this lockdown. And
but you know, let me say this. Let me say this. You know, I have a problem with the fact that the value of men has been reduced to how much they can provide. That a man's value is based on what someone else has decided to pay him for his skills. Do you understand how ridiculous that is?
And I mean, the question there is, if a man cannot provide, he has lost his job during this time, then is he still a man? But I think the bigger thing here is, so we're saying number one is honor. For those of you who have joined us, we said men love honor, and that's respect. And someone is asking, what is respect? And I think we have said is treating someone for their worth, treating them well, talking them with respect, I think, for what they are worth. You know, they were saying we define what respect means. Is the way you talk to them, is the way you involve someone, is the way you celebrate their role, the way you allow them to have their position and not be in competition with them. I think that's what respect is about. And number two, we're talking about duty. Men love to have something to do, a task, a job, a position, an obligation. You know, they want to feel like a warrior on a mission to accomplish something. And part of that, we're saying they need some celebration for their success, to be celebrated when they do something, when they provide, that you're not just being asked, is this all you could bring with all your big body? There's a celebration, there's an appreciation that you have worked, that you've gone out, that you're doing some stuff because you want to provide, and that is important. So men want to be needed. So you don't do everything in the house, or you don't do everything out there, and the man is there and he doesn't feel like he has a chance to be involved. Yes.
Pastor Simon.
Yes.
Allow me to just throw in a definition for respect. And, you know, with all humility, I'd like to ask everyone who's confused about the meaning of respect, the same device that you're using to stream this on, please use it to go to Google and just Google for the meaning of respect. Okay?
I think it's maybe the way we define it. I think sometimes.
Hold on. I'm about to read a few things here that I think form up just a good base. You know, one, consideration. Due regard for the feelings, the wishes, or the rights of your partner. Thoughtfulness. Attentiveness. Underline this one: politeness. Courtesy, civility, and deference. Just if you start there, you'll be fine. If you're wondering how to respect your partner, just start there. Be considerate, be thoughtful, be attentive, be polite, be courteous, be civil. If you start there, I guarantee you'll be okay.
I agree with that. I completely agree with that. Ian, there's someone that is asking that, are men so brittle that women have to tiptoe around them?
No. If you are the sort of man who wants people to be tiptoeing around you, that is not right.
Mhm.
That is not right.
Mhm.
There is a problem in that relationship.
Mhm.
If you're the sort of man who will come in and find, you're at the gate and the whole house is laughing and there's a lot of noise, but once you go in, everything goes hush. The kids dash to the wife goes to the kitchen, the kids go to the room, there's a problem there.
Yeah.
No, men are not like that. Men should not be like that.
And that's not honorable. I think that's not honorable. If you're a man who throws your weight around and want to be feared, so we're not talking about oversensitiveness. We're just talking about being sensitive, because everybody, wants people to be sensitive around them, to be able to know how they're saying what they're saying. So this is not just men only, but we're talking about men today. And it's just about that kind of courtesy, civility, peaceableness, the kind that brings out the best in a man for him to feel useful. Let's come to you, Amani, and then talk about, to me, like we're talking about 3 pillars. So number 1 is a king and respect and position and being celebrated for what you do and how you do it. Number 2 is a job, celebrated, appreciated for what you do, because men value mission and for their usefulness, and being needed, because men want to be needed. As we said, women need to be wanted. And there's a whole difference between those two. And of course, men want to succeed in their duty. That's why the fear of failure is very huge for men. It's very frustrating when a man feels like a failure. But let's come to care, Amani. And I think care is where we have food, we have sex, we have comfort, we have all of these other needs, because care is about social, sexual, physical, and other needs being met, that you feel that you're taken care of. And I think men want, of course, that. Amani, what would you say around care and needs?
Allow me to just respond to the question that Ian also responded to, because I saw it and it reads this. Yeah. And this is, and I'm going to call it out. It reads affirmed and validated. Yeah. It makes it seem like men are some fragile being that need to be treated like glass. Seems women need to tiptoe around them.
Yeah.
Basically, what this person has done is invalidated our need to be affirmed and to be validated.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
And so what happens, it makes the man look like the problem because of being human.
Yeah, because it's human to want that. Anyone would want that, including that.
And I'm going to call it out and say, listen, men are human beings. We have feelings, we have emotions. We get sad, we get scared, we get angry, but we also get happy. We have compassion, we get excited. We have feelings. And just because we want our feelings considered doesn't mean you walk around us like eggshells.
Yeah.
That's a wrong interpretation.
That's true. And I agree with that. I think we're not saying that we just want to be celebrated as little kings and everybody to be scared about us. I think affirmation, in fact, we always talk, Ian, about 3 needs of every human being, that we have them from birth to death. And one is acceptance, the other one is affirmation, and the third one is affection. We all need that, and we just need it differently as men and differently as women. So yes. Nothing wrong with that. I think we're just talking about how men would love to receive that. And of course, everybody has a choice. If you don't give it in a certain way, then you don't get back,
right.
The blessing of the friendship of that man. But Ian, talking about care, food, and all of these other things, anything to add before we come back to Amani?
Well, all those need to be provided. Yeah. All those need to be provided for the man, for him to feel, yes, I am respected and I'm being taken care of. Because if you don't take care of your man at home, somebody else will.
Yeah. Well put. Amani.
I have nothing to add. Ian, all wisdom, with all wisdom. You have said it. I mean, listen, I think people need to understand this, and we have gotten onto
Manny, are we losing you because of internet?
I don't know. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
You know, we have all gotten onto a high horse.
Mm-hmm.
Now we think that taking care of the people that we are with is beneath us.
Mm.
And that saddens me. It saddens me that you think that if you serve your man some food, then you're enslaved.
Mm-hmm.
It saddens me that if you feel like, that if you help him do a chore, if you do a chore for him, that it's enslavement. That saddens me because listen, that's human.
Mm.
It's human. Get off your high horse. Treat your man the way you'd like him to treat you.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
And I love that because, I mean, the golden rule is treat others as you'd like to be treated. And we're not saying the men shouldn't. And, it's just unfortunate when we're talking about men, then when we don't involve the other side, then it feels like we're being one-sided. And we'll come to that point of how we do some bad job in the way we treat women as well. That discussion is going to be coming. But I like what you said, and I think that settles it, that just like women have needs that need to be met, if a man is worth his salt, then men have needs that need to be met as well in the relationship and in life generally. And I like what you said because we have had many relationships that are breaking, and when they come, I just say, are you meeting each other's needs? And we say, okay, man, write your needs, and woman, write your needs, and the priorities are different. The woman will still say, I need sex in this marriage, I need this, but the priorities are different, and it's just because we're different, male and female, we are different, and the more we care about each other, then the more that we're going to be a blessing one to another. There's one Ian
Pastor,
that I would like for you. Yes. I want to say something.
Can I just throw in one thing?
Yeah.
And maybe this is a good way to put, that thing about care.
Yeah.
I found that for me now, one of the most attractive qualities in any human being, men and women, is humility.
Yeah.
And I found that, I found humility very attractive. That when you find people who are really just have a healthy view of themselves, both the good, the bad, and ugly, and are aware of everything that they are, and they bring that into a conversation, I find that very attractive.
Yeah.
As a result, the opposite is also true. I find pride and selfishness very repulsive.
That's right.
And so, my take on how to, about care is, this is about humility, and humility doesn't make you weak. Humility makes you stronger. In fact, it's the opposite. It makes you the better person, the bigger person. And so my call is for us to do what Kendrick Lamar says, sit down and be humble.
I like that. I think humility is really knowing who you are, knowing yourself, not being puffed up. Someone has said pride makes you a very small bundle when you wrap yourself around it. And it's just hard to see other people. So I think we're going to be talking about relationships in the future, but I would love for us to just keep this general because some of us are not in relationships, but we deal with men or our bosses or men who are colleagues or men who report to us. And the same applies. If a man reports to you and you begin to call them names, they may still kiss up because you are the boss, but that man is going to be to have very little worth when he goes home to his to his family. He's just going to feel useless because of the way he's treated. So we're saying honor, duty, allowing him to play his role and play well, and then care to the degree that can happen. And I wanted to ask you, Ian, I know time is rushing pretty much, but talking about relationships, there's some of the ladies who have said, it's like my man wants me to look 16 again. We've been married for 20 years. A lot of men say this woman doesn't try to look, the part anymore. They've just chilered themselves. Those who are not from this part of the world, is that they're hair down. that they're not really doing anything to look. And men are visual. Men want to feel like I'm walking with someone besides me. Of course, they cannot be like size 8 if you've had several children together. But you just want to feel like this person has groomed themselves enough that they, whatever they're doing, that they want you to look good besides them.
Very true. Men are very visual.
Yeah.
And that is probably one of the things that attracted the man when you are courting, how you used to dress, how you used to do your hair, your makeup. But once you get married, it is that, do they still put on the stockings at night and t-shirts?
I think they left, yeah.
Oh, sorry, it's weaves now. Oh, okay, no, let's not go into weaves. But yes, the woman also needs to dress up to be attractive, because yes, the man is visual and he still wants to see an attractive woman who's taking some time to look good, not necessarily for him, but the same sort of things she used to do before when they were courting.
Yeah.
The man still needs that.
Okay.
You still need to look good.
Yeah. And I like that, Ian, is just to say, you know, I think sometimes when women say that to me, then the thing I tell them, you know, part of marriage is to say, what makes you tick? How can I serve you well? The man is asking the woman, and the woman is asking the man. And that's why humility is, that I'm not here for me. I'm here for you, and you're here for me. And so we serve each other, and we get to, you know, bless one another. So when a woman, before they get married, they wanted this visual man to be able to notice every hairdo that has changed, to notice their dress, to notice, you know, different things. But now they've been married for a while, and they think it's no longer visual. I think it's just unfair. And you begin to say, do you have to see all the time? What's wrong with you that you're always looking? And yet that looking is what got you together, because it's just the way we are, being visual, and it's serving one another. It's serving one another. It's not anyone is a slave to the other. Love serves. Love is humble enough to say, this is your need, I'm going to meet it. This is my need, you're going to meet it. Amani, do you have anything to say there? I know you might be in the field these days, so you could let us know.
He's in the field, yes.
Niko mchezo Kasarani. Anyway, so first, as the fattest guy on this panel, you know, I'm going to be a little soft on this visual story. So I mean, I'm seeing some really funny comments. Guys are saying t-shirts like Tano Tena or Kibaki Tosha. That's what people are wearing. But let me say something. Yeah. I think it's important to look good. And looking good is not by a standard that has been set by society. Sure. I think looking good is, you know, you have to find what works for you. And I'll speak it for myself as a guy. When I found that, you know, getting clothes from the shop because of my midriff was a bit hard to do, you know. So it was either I go get liposuction or I start getting a tailor. So I got a tailor so that I can get, you know, I can get good fitting clothes. And then I will look okay. And so we're not asking women to fit a certain, you know, a standard that has been set by society. But I also want to say, if you're already in a marriage, you know, then you want to consider some of the things that your husband finds attractive. Yeah. So if your guy doesn't like weaves, and then you go and get a weave, who are you getting it for? Because it's not for him. You understand? It might be for you, but it's not for him. You're looking, you understand? So I think there's a place for, if my mama likes me smelling good, then I'll go buy cologne, you know? I'll make sure I use shower gel instead of panga soap. And that's because I'm trying to be considerate of her in how I also present myself. And so I think it's important for us to. Someone has mentioned to me in a comment that COVID-19 has affected this visual story, but I understand that you can't be wearing heels in the house as you're going about your business, but it doesn't mean that you can't decide to do a dress-up dinner, for example, at home. Get out the candles, do a dress-up dinner, switch on some Marvin Gaye, and see the magic happen.
Yeah. I like the way you're saying it. I want us to finish this. I go and have some dinner in that way. But I love it. I think, let me just remind everyone, we're coming to a close, maybe the last 10 minutes. And in case you'd like to sign up for some of our programs, we have Man Enough. We're doing it online. It's been subsidized right now. As I said earlier, you could sign in, and we're going to be starting this weekend, this coming weekend. So you need to sign up. If it's Ezra and you'd like to get involved with the woman version of Man Enough, Ezra, then feel free to sign up. We have some other programs for intentional dads and intentional moms as well. So we're bringing this towards a close, and we're talking about what do men want? And we've been talking with Ian Bugwa and Amani Maranga here, and we have said men want honor or respect, and that's a big one, and it comes in different ways. But number two, they need duty. They need something to do. They want to feel useful. They want to have a task. They want to have a job. And there are a lot of men who are sad right now and are down because they have no job to do. And when a man just feels useless, I have nothing to contribute, it's hard. And there's someone who has asked, why do men have to compare their worth of contribution to money only? And I'll say something and then ask Ian to say something as well. I don't think that's what we need to do, but we need to understand for men, money means power, and probably that needs to change in some ways, but it means power for them to be able to do certain things. For women, money means security. So we just view these things differently. And it doesn't mean men should see that if they have less money. Like sometimes, Ian, I've asked men, would you marry someone who is earning way more than you? And a lot of men have said no. And I think I've disagreed with that because as long as we can respect each other, if she's earning more than me and we are married and the money is married, then it's coming to the same family. It's serving the same family. But if the money then makes one feel superior, even the men, if they're earning more and that makes you superior, then it doesn't serve the union. Ian, what would you like to say to that person who is saying, why do men take money so seriously in that way?
Well, traditionally, the man is supposed to be the provider. So he's the one who's supposed to bring the bacon home. But that is traditional. That's how it was before. But things have changed so much. We've now got more women bringing the bacon home. And that's kind of challenged some men. And that's why, and once that starts challenging the man, then there is a problem because he won't even have anyone to talk to because men do not have people they can turn to.
Okay.
And then that's when the depression comes in.
Okay. I agree. And I think what you're saying, there's someone who has asked, if I'm giving that respect and the man is not reciprocating, what am I supposed to do? And of course, someone said, okay, if a man goes away to a different thing because I am not giving that respect, instead of us working on it, then both of us lose. Instead, they should come home and say, let's work on this. Amani, your comments on that before we begin to have some concluding remarks.
Well, I agree with the fact that, if someone feels disrespected, the first place they should go is go back home and try and have that conversation and, try as much as possible to get to a place where they agree on what that looks like for both of them. Yeah. But I want to say this, if you're getting into a marriage and hoping for 50-50, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
If you're hoping to, to get into a marriage where, you get as much as you put in, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
this thing is sacrificial, and that's the truth about it. And this comes from someone who has made his mistakes and has learned from them, that you go in ready and willing to give 100%, whether you get your 100% or not.
That's true.
Whether you get 100% back or not. And that's the truth about it. If you're going to try and get more out of it, if you're going to wait for it to be 50-50, to be equal, it never really will be. And you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
But lastly, I want to say, you know what? At the end of the day, if you treat, there's a scripture that I love very much. And it had an epiphany for me last year. And this is a scripture where Jesus says that the greatest commandment is love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. And then he says that a quick second is love your neighbor as yourself.
That's right.
And, I started to question, I had never really seen the yourself part. And so I started questioning what that yourself looks like. How do I love myself? And I went to 1 Corinthians chapter 13, the love chapter, verse 4. And it says, love is patient, love is kind, it's not jealous, it's not proud, does not envy, does not keep a record of wrong. And I started using that as a measure of how to love myself. And I said, you know what? I'm going to use that as a measure to love myself, but I'm going to use that as a measure on how I love my neighbor as well. And so if you're confused about what to do, how to respond to your partner, go to 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4. And those things that are listed between verse 4 and verse 7, just use them as a checklist. Are you being patient? Are you being kind? Are you being selfless? Are you keeping a record of wrong? Are you being proud? And if you find that there's need for adjustment, then use that checklist as a checklist for yourself. Those are my last words.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Amani. Before I come to you, Ian, I think I would just say one of the sessions episodes in this Sober Sunday, we're going to be talking about the differences between men and women, social, brain differences, cultural differences, and many differences. And we're going to try to see how do we behave towards each other. And some of these things are nature, some are nurture, and we need just to understand one another. I think a lot of differences between relationships are just basically because we don't understand each other. And so I like my wife to treat me, I like to treat my wife as if she is a boy, and she's not a boy, she's a girl, and she's different, and she's treating me like a girlfriend, and I'm a man. So I think once we understand each other, and that is going to be coming, we will find relationships work very well. Ian, your concluding remarks before I just say a few things as we end.
Oh, yes. Well, number one, I've been asked, is Amani married? Please answer that question yourself.
I'm available for comment.
Okay. Those of you who are asking, you've heard it straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
Yes. Expect some messages very soon, Amani. Yes, it is true that understanding each other as couples, understanding each other will help you avoid so many things. Once you understand each other really well, that's when you can think about the for better, for worse.
Yeah.
Because marriage isn't a bed of roses. Well, it is, because it's got thorns.
Yeah.
There is the better and there is the worse. People think that there should only be the better. No.
Yeah.
But if you understand each other, you will get through both, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer. But you need to understand each other, and you can get through absolutely anything. Well, almost anything, as long as the only thing I don't see is if there's violence. If there's violence, that one I say absolutely no.
Yeah.
But any other thing, understanding between the two of you, understanding with your children, and in my case, with my grandchild, understanding each other, very, very important. You're able to get through so much.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to say a few things and come to both of you just to give us your social handles. But also just want to say you can follow us on Transform Nations Facebook. We are on Twitter. We are on Instagram. Just if you go Transform Nations Facebook, of course, EZA as well. There's EZA and there's EZA Global. There is Man Enough as well and Man Enough Global. And we would love to be able to invite some of you to the trainings that we do. But what I wanted to say as I conclude is that we have talked about three things, which are the need of every man, and I believe is what men need to be. One is honor, that men need respect, but they also need to be honorable. So when we talk to the men, we say, train yourself and grow yourself to be a man of honor in your character, in how you talk to others, in what you do. But secondly, duty, that men need to take the initiative, need to work, need to contribute, need to be active, and need to do what they need to do, so that they will be as well celebrated for the duty and contribution that they make. Number three is care. Men need to be cared for, the needs that we have talked about, whether it's sex, whether it's just respect and other things that they need. They have needs, and you need to discuss together and of course give them. Some are obvious, some are specific to the man. But men also need to care for others. So for a man to be great, what he needs, he also needs to give back. Honor, duty, care. We need to rise up to it as men. We need to uphold, violence and tyrants being tyrants or just feeling superior because of our leadership. We need to be the kind of men that will be celebrated and will be a blessing. And so, men, as we look towards that, we pray that we will be the kind of men that will be a blessing. So, Amani Maranga, your social media handles and how people can reach you.
My social media handles are at Amani Maranga on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. You can also follow my my podcast, Living Truthfully, on any of the podcast platforms that you listen to your podcast at. Thank you for having me here, Pastor Simon.
Thank you very much. Good to have you. Ian Bogwa.
Ian Bogwa, Facebook, Twitter, and the other one, Instagram, IG, yes. Okay. Follow. If you have any questions, just feel free. Feel free.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I think if you go to Man Enough on our Facebook page, you can sign up, but you can also sign up on this page for Man Enough, EZA, and our different programs. We appreciate this. Every Sunday, we're going to be together 9:15 to 10:15 or thereabouts for Sober Sunday. Thank you very much, every one of you. Thank you for your comments. We will respond to some next week. Next week, we're going to be here. We plan to invite a lady as well, who is going to be part of us as we have the part 2 of what do men want, and we'll answer a lot of questions during that time. So thank you, everyone. It's good night from us. God bless you.
Good night.